Hey everybody, this is Walt.
This is Max.
And you're listening to our podcast, The ABCs of Rock and Metal.
We call it Anti-Seminal, and we're, as always, Useless Info Inc. And today we're doing one of the big ones, Walt. We're doing Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Yes, that's right. This is Powerslave, 1984, their fifth album.
Gusto, Powerslave.
Yes. So, Walt, give us a little bit of context on this album. Where was the band when they did this album?
This is their fifth studio album, released in 1984 on EMI in the UK, in Europe, and also on Capitol Records here in the States. It was re-released in 2002, which I would love to get my hands on a copy of.
Yeah.
Because I think it has extra tracks, which I haven't heard. Produced, engineered, and mixed by Martin Birch, who worked with the band from 1980-something, from Killer's record all the way up until Fear of the Dark, until he retired. Okay. And I believe Fear of the Dark was 92, maybe 93.
Yeah.
So he worked with them for a long time and is also responsible for their sound, a lot of it.
Yeah, okay.
He was almost like another member of the band, closely associated with Iron Maiden. This album was actually recorded in New Jersey.
Oh,
did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
At Compass Studios in Nassau. And so was the previous record, which is probably my all-time favorite, one of my all-time favorites, I should say, because I love all their work.
Yeah.
Peace of Mind was the previous album.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Peace of Mind plays like a greatest hits, almost. Mm-hmm. I mean, every single song. I mean, if we did that, I couldn't do Gun to the Head. I'm serious. I couldn't.
Well, yeah.
I couldn't.
That's a seminal album.
Very seminal, yeah.
Exactly.
A lot of people say Powerslave is too. I just feel like it didn't get as much love as Number of the Beast and Peace of Mind.
Sure.
Number of the Beast really made them an arena act.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More so with Peace of Mind.
And that was the first one Dickinson was on, right?
Yep.
As vocalist.
Number of the Beast, yeah. Before that was Paul Di'Anno, who I think was fired because of substance abuse.
Okay.
Now, once again, in a rock band, everybody's getting high, like I've said before.
Yeah.
You fire the guy that gets the most high.
Yeah.
He must have been really fucking high. So.
It's a question of, can you get high and still play?
Right,
and perform?
that's true too.
Maybe you couldn't.
I also kind of felt like metal was changing.
Yeah.
And we don't like using the genre, media-created genre terminology for music and bands and what have you. But Maiden is quintessential metal band.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yep.
And metal was changing. With Di'Anno was more punk-influenced kind of rock metal. Mm-hmm. I mean, Priest was moving on to these soaring vocals, these soaring guitars, just bigger production. Mm-hmm. I think that the guys in Maiden saw that and said, we got to do the same thing.
Okay.
And part of doing that was getting another singer.
Yeah.
As much as we like Paul Di'Anno and what he did with the debut album and Killers. Killers is also another seminal album for metal fans, period. But Dickinson is a whole other animal as a singer. Mm-hmm. A lot more dynamic than Di'Anno. Di'Anno could hit certain notes in the whole thing, but it was also the attitude, the flair, lyrical content, etc. So now Maiden is, at this time, an arena act.
Yeah.
And it's almost reflected, which we'll get to later, in the way the album's presented with the artwork and what have you. The album was mixed, recorded in Jersey, but mixed at Electric Ladyland.
Oh, really? Okay.
On West 8th Street near 6th Avenue. Jimi Hendrix's studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Hendrix didn't get to spend a lot of time in.
Yeah.
Before he passed away, God rest his soul. Beyond that, I think the album went to 20 Ward. Went to 21 on the... I've been drinking. The album made it to 21 on the Billboard chart.
Yeah.
And number 2 in the UK. So the UK always embraced them, which I think is fantastic
it is
and
interesting.
odd, because a lot of British fans of metal didn't embrace the British bands.
Interesting.
They would come to America and get bigger here first, rather than in their home country, in England. It's happened across the board forever. I mean, the Cult, the same thing. They got bigger here than they were in England. I can't say the same for Priest. I don't think that that's entirely true.
Right, yeah.
But there were so many other bands around the time that were lumped in with the new wave of British heavy metal, Iron Maiden being one.
You know, one thing that was odd for me, I grew up on the West Coast, so I was listening to rock radio on the West Coast. Iron Maiden was not a band that was played on the rock stations.
Really?
Yeah. Were they around here?
Yeah, but they weren't on rock stations.
Okay, where were they?
College radio, mostly metal stations, and you didn't really have metal stations. Back then.
Yeah, I mean,
you had hard rock. You'd have a couple of songs here or there.
Yeah, I'd hear like Judas Priest and AC/DC, but yeah, you didn't really get anything like Maiden.
You would hear the big hit single.
Yeah, I didn't even
hear
and
that.
There.
And it was always late at night.
Okay.
If you wanted to hear metal or watch metal videos, you had to watch Headbangers Ball.
Exactly.
In
I
the
didn't
80s
have cable either.
So
I was a really deprived child.
Especially when it came to Headbangers Ball, yeah. That was a thing. I mean, you wanted to see that every Saturday night. You got together with friends and the whole night, and that's where you would see the metal videos. But it was always the big singles, too.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like I said, on a rock station, you might hear 2 Minutes to Midnight because it sold.
Yeah.
So it was selling records. The single was selling. So then you'd hear it on the radio. But it was always late at night, not during the day where they were playing like Zeppelin or some Sabbath or Creedence or what have you. You know, Foreigner. You hear a lot of Foreigner on the rock radio station.
Yeah.
And a lot of Kansas, a lot of Boston.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of Peter Cetera, for Christ's sake. You know, from Chicago. He was a singer in Chicago. Where it got sickening. But always late at night, you'd hear the stuff that you wanted to hear.
Okay.
I like this record a lot.
Yeah, me too.
It's one of my favorites.
Solid.
I'm very nostalgic about this record.
Okay.
From when it came out when I was a kid and the whole nine, and just blasting this thing.
Yeah.
So let's
get into it. Yeah, totally. First up, we have Aces High. Okay, right away.
Listen to that.
Yeah, yeah. Now this is written by Steve Harris, right? The bassist.
Yeah.
He wrote a lot of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of credited as the main songwriter.
Yeah.
And he formed the band. He put the band together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
After his two previous bands fell apart, which were, oh my God, I can't. He formed the band in '75.
Okay.
So, his two previous bands were Gypsy's Kiss.
Wow, great name.
And Smiler.
Okay. So where did Dickinson come from?
That's a good question. I think he was trolling around in other bands.
I heard the name Samson or something like that.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he was. He was in Samson.
Do you know that band? I've never heard
Not
of it.
really familiar with their work at all.
Okay.
It might have come across my radar here and there, going on YouTube, looking for wild stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So I might have heard a single or two, but I'm not very familiar. This is where we'd have to call Sam. He would know.
Yeah.
He's probably got an album by them, too, I'll bet you, in his record collection.
Now, this is, of course, about the Battle of Britain in World War II, with British fighters fighting off German bombers and the Messerschmitts. This song, to me, is an example of a perfect melding of music and content.
Oh, yeah.
Because you listen to this,
I hear that.
It sounds like you're in a fighter plane, just sort of tumbling around in this chaotic battle in the sky.
You're at war.
Yeah, and
with
the
this
drums are like machine gun-like.
Yep.
And there's a section where you kind of hear like these overlapping vocals, like you just imagine being in a plane, like hearing on the radio and like all this shit's going on.
You talking about the layered vocals that are echoed to
you feel like you're in that cockpit in the Battle of Britain, which is pretty amazing.
Cockpit. You said cockpit.
Sorry.
I'm simple.
It's really intense.
Yeah, it's a great song, man.
Yeah. Great way to start off the album. And
you feel like you're going to war.
This is. Yeah. That's intense.
Yep.
That is
driving
intense
guitar.
shit.
And now we got the soaring, almost like the plane soaring over the battlefield.
Yeah, exactly.
The way the guitar solo is played.
Yeah.
Shooting stuff down with that.
Yeah.
It's great stuff, man. Great opener.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great opener.
It just grabs you.
And Aces High. I mean,
yeah, come on.
Before you heard the song and you looked at the album, you were like, that's going to be kick-ass.
Yeah.
It's got to be. So.
Now, they had a special cover for the single, right?
Oh, yeah.
With Eddie in the cockpit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the trooper in the cockpit.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, should we move on?
Yeah.
I know it's tough to fade this one out.
I know.
So this is 2 Minutes to Midnight, still in kind of a war vein here. And this is written by Dickinson and Adrian Smith.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I got it. It's also based on the Doomsday Clock.
Exactly. Yeah.
The symbolic trigger for destruction of any kind, basically.
Now, strangely enough, this song was my first exposure to Iron Maiden, but not the song, just the lyrics.
You hadn't heard the song. You heard the lyrics first? How did that happen?
So a friend of mine, this is something we'll have to come back to at the end when we talk about the album cover, but a friend of mine, he wrote out the lyrics by hand on binder paper and present them to me in class. And I'm reading them, I'm like, oh, this is pretty intelligent. There's something interesting going on here.
Right. Did you think he wrote it?
No, he told me what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. That's the thing that actually got me into Iron Maiden, weirdly enough. Like, these guys seem pretty smart.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the Doomsday Clock appears in one of our favorite quote-unquote graphic novels, The Watchmen.
Of course. Yeah.
which wasn't a graphic novel. It was a 12-issue series when it came out. I got to reiterate that.
Right.
So, the big hit single. This is one of the songs, like I mentioned earlier, that if you heard it on late night rock radio, it would be this song.
Yeah.
You wouldn't hear Powerslave. Aces High was also a single, but you might not hear that. You'd hear this because everybody was buying the single, if not the record.
Yeah. Now, one thing that stands out in a lot of Iron Maiden, especially this album, is the bass playing. It's like really melodic and ornate.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we think about like hard rock bands like AC/DC. The bass was like really just sort of solid, like the same note.
Thumping along,
yeah.
Right. Just holding the backbeat, holding the spine together.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
There's something else going on here, which is interesting to me when you think about early on when Iron Maiden was kind of considered punkish.
Yeah.
Because that's not a punk sensibility.
Right, no.
Like, they changed, right?
Oh, yeah. The bass is prominent.
Exactly.
Well, also, I mean, Steve Harris, you know, he started the band. He was writing a lot of these songs. So he figured out a niche for himself to get his lines in there.
Yeah.
He's working. On all of these albums, and when we saw them live, the same thing. He works.
Yeah.
He works.
Yeah.
His fingers are all over the freaking place, and he makes it look easy at the same time.
It's,
So the man's a genius in my mind.
Yeah. All right, next up. This is Lost for Words, in parentheses, Big Aura.
Big Aura.
What O-R-R-A? What does that mean? Do we know what that means?
I think it's a Scottish word for strange or out of place.
Okay.
Aura.
All right.
I think so.
Huh.
Please, if you're out there and you know, let us know. But I think it's something like that.
Okay.
Strange or out of place is aura. So you're big, strange, out of place, something or other. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it's also kind of because this is an instrumental piece on an Iron Maiden record.
Yeah.
So,
sure. Yeah.
You don't hear too much of that with Maiden records.
Yeah.
I mean, you have large instrumental sections during songs, but this is a straight-up instrumental.
Yeah.
So I can't really say if they did it again or not.
I'm trying to remember.
And if they did it before, I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I said, large instrumental pieces in songs, but not just an instrumental.
I feel like there was one before this one, but I can't remember the name of it.
Okay.
I have some vague memory.
All right.
I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. This is written by Steve Harris again, right?
Yeah.
And you really, of course, the bass playing is prominent.
Right.
And nice melodic lines in the guitars. Yeah. It's a solid song.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The first time you're listening to this, you're like, okay, where's Bruce?
Yeah.
Is he coming in now?
Because you expect it, right?
You expect him to come running right in.
The way it's written, it sounds like it's building up to a vocal at some point.
Exactly.
That never quite happens. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it kind of goes on for a while. Right?
Yeah.
It's not a short instrumental.
Maybe Bruce was out for a pint or something.
Maybe.
Some fish and chips or whatever. I said, I'll see you lads later. Let me know when you're done. Oh, we got a song. Okay, fine. Whatever.
Yeah, cool.
You're not singing on it. What? All right. You're still paying me, right? I'm still in the group.
But I just read Guy de Maupassant and I have lyrics.
Right. I have this great idea.
We'll get into this, but they probably drew from more literary references than any other heavy metal band I can think of.
It's a possibility.
Right?
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on? And this is Flash of the Blade, written by Dickinson, and he was an actual competing fencer, right?
Yeah.
So
I think he won awards and shit and competitions and all this.
Now, okay, this guy, so he did that. He's a lead singer of Iron Maiden, and he has a commercial pilot's license.
Yeah. He flies jets.
Jumbo
jets.
Yeah, not like Cessnas.
Right.
He can fly a jet like a 747 or something with actual passengers on board. He's certified to do that.
He's not a pussy like John Travolta. He flies big, giant fucking planes.
Yeah, like what other heavy metal guy is certified to fly a jet
they
with
have
human
their
beings
own.
on it? Yeah, exactly.
They have their own. You know, where he's like, don't worry about it. We'll get to the next gig. Brr, where do I park this thing?
Yeah, I respect the hell out of the guy. He takes on a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you ever read his autobiography?
I haven't yet.
I'm curious about it.
But our buddy Sam did.
Yeah.
He said it's a great read.
It sounds like it's.
He says it's a
really
great read. He said it seems very personal, too.
Apparently, he decided to write it when he overcame cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
came
came out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he didn't smoke or anything. He's not a big drinker.
Yeah.
But it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he beat it, and, you know, bless him.
And
you know what I mean?
I don't know the quality of writing because I haven't read it, but apparently he basically wrote that himself. He didn't rely on a ghostwriter or a co-writer or anything.
Sam said the same thing. He said that it reads like you're talking to a friend.
Which is
so
cool.
Not necessarily going for, you know, big grammar or anything.
It's not that slickness to it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
really personal.
Like you said, a ghostwriter or a co-writer would go, okay, let's change this to sound more professional. Hey, he just wrote it like a letter to whoever wants to listen. Yeah. Which I think is pretty cool.
It just seems like he's one of these kind of restless spirits who's just always trying to take on something new and master it.
Right.
I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this song, actually, Flash of the Blade. Yeah. I noted the melodic sensibility of the solo almost seems like it's going for some kind of old English folk, right here.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right.
Like kind of, you know, Middle Ages, fairy type sort of...
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
I hear that.
Suiting
a minstrel
the
almost.
theme of the sword fighting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, minstrelish or what have you.
It's nicely done.
Oh, this was also used in a Dario Argento movie.
Oh, which one?
Phenomena.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah. Phenomena.
Which
is basically phenomena. In Italian.
Yeah,
So phenomena.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Jennifer Connelly, when she was young, one of her first roles, she's in it.
Okay.
I think she did Labyrinth right after that movie. It might have been right before or right after.
Yeah, okay. So she was young.
Oh, very young. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't know that until I saw that online. I was like, I own that movie. Oh, I don't remember Flash of the Blade in that. They probably just use a snidbit because I haven't watched it forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently it was used in a soundtrack. Because I don't know how many movies actually feature Maiden songs on a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Maybe some Italian cinema. Other horror movies.
Yeah. I can't think of any off the bat.
I know. I mean, because there's also Demons has a heavy metal soundtrack.
Okay.
But I don't think Maiden was on that. I know the Cult was on it. I think Judas Priest is on it. Maybe Maiden's on it for a snippet. I mean, and then there's also Billy Idol on it. So Italian horror liked metal.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until later on with horror movies in the United States where they started pairing up metal with horror movies.
Yeah.
One of the greatest being, when it was more punk, was Return of the Living Dead.
With
45 Grave and etc.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, this is great track.
Yeah.
That guitar line, like you said.
Yeah.
You know,
it's nice.
It's dizzying. It's like you've been stabbed and you're running out of blood.
So this is The Duelists. Again, written by Harris, right? Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is actually true, but I think this is based on the Joseph Conrad novella, The Duelists.
Yes.
Right? Which is made into that Ridley Scott movie.
Right. 1978, Ridley Scott,
Okay, so that is verified, right?
That is verified.
Okay, yeah.
And it comes right after Flash of the Blade.
Yeah, so there's a connection
Very
there.
thematic, almost.
Yeah.
But a lot of this album, they do it in general. It's like themes of war and fighting and, you know, battle hymns.
The Trooper, Alexander the Great.
I would never think about, you know, fencing, but this song makes me think about it. Like, all right, I'll try it, you know. Then I'll get stabbed in the eye and say, oh, that was a bad idea. Right through the screen helmet. Okay, I give up. That'll be my luck.
And the solo section kind of sounds like these dueling solos.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems
Fitting.
like that's intentional. Yeah.
And once again, those soaring Dickinson vocals.
Yep.
Almost with a pop sensibility, some of the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, which we'll get into a little bit later. But I always felt that about Maiden and Priest. They have sort of a pop sensibility to the way they write metal songs. I don't think it's intentional.
Right.
I think they kind of stumbled on it.
Okay.
You know, especially with Peace of Mind. And they kind of kept it going because it works.
Which song specifically, Peace of Mind?
Oh, the whole record.
Okay.
The whole album to me.
Yeah.
Listen to that chorus.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Radio-friendly metal.
Yeah.
It kind of is, but not a bad way.
Yeah.
Not a bad way. Not like Warren.
Which is interesting considering they didn't have that much radio exposure, right?
Exactly,
It's a weird...
Right.
Yeah.
And you would think that radio stations would embrace them back then.
You would think so. Yeah.
But no, it didn't happen until much, much later.
Yeah.
Where you had legions of fans.
Yeah.
Where they finally stood up. I mean, the same thing happened with other bands that didn't have radio exposure, like in the metal community, so to speak. Like Metallica is case in point, too. Of modern, quote-unquote, bands that had no exposure on radio or MTV whatsoever.
Yeah.
Kids were handing back and forth tapes.
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And a lot of it were Maiden too. I discovered Maiden through friends of mine that were into Maiden.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It wasn't the thing that, you went out seeking them because you didn't hear anything about them.
Yeah.
Unless you saw a concert poster.
Exactly.
Then you would know that they were around. But otherwise, it was all people telling me about certain bands, and Maiden was one of them. And I'm sincerely glad that, friends of mine when I was younger said, oh, you like this, you like that.
Yeah.
Check out Maiden. You got to check out Iron Maiden. A lifelong fan ever since.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. This is Back in the Village. Now, this is also based on The Prisoner, the TV show, right?
Yep.
Just like, because they had a previous song called The Prisoner.
On the Number of the Beast.
Yeah.
So somebody really likes that show.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's Harris or Dickinson or maybe the whole band. I don't know, but apparently they were influenced by The Prisoner.
And back then, people, at least in the U.S., didn't know that show that much.
No,
It was a cult thing.
Yeah. My dad used to watch it.
He did?
On Channel 13. On PBS.
Yeah, like that's how I discovered it. They'd
Yeah.
show it like on Sunday nights, like probably after Doctor Who.
Right, yeah, exactly. And Benny Hill.
Yeah.
Benny Hill would be the last one later on.
Yeah.
So I remember watching The Prisoner with my dad and going, wow, this show is crazy.
Yeah.
Then the other show that came on that was popular was, and this was in the 80s, mid-80s, remember the Tripods?
The Tripods?
Yeah.
What was that?
It was kind of like a War of the Worlds thing with these three kids. It was a British show.
Okay.
And they were basically stuck in this alien invaded future apocalypse.
Oh, that was based on a novel.
Could be.
A sci-fi novel.
But I don't read, so.
Okay.
I can't read.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really familiar.
So if you want to donate to the Learning How to Read Fund, Bitcoin, PayPal, we take it all. Cash, pennies, candy. Drugs.
Okay, on that note, anything more on this one?
No, it's a great song.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about what he's trying to say lyrically. Do you got anything on that?
I'm not quite sure. Yeah.
Because we know it's based on The Prisoner, but
but the lyrics are a little bit
a little convoluted, a little mishmashy.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm not. Yeah.
Not dissing.
Yeah.
Classic Maiden right there. It's classic Maiden.
Yeah.
And classic Dickinson, man.
Uh-huh.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
He was blowing his mullet out on that one.
And the title song, Powerslave. Oh, man.
The galloping guitar right out the box.
That is such classic Maiden. Yeah. And this one, Dickinson really thought this one through.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he has a whole thing about...
There's a lot of lyrics to this song.
Yeah.
A lot of lyrics. A lot of big words.
Yeah.
And talking about Egyptian hieroglyphs and gods, Egyptian gods and mythology.
And so the pharaoh he's going to die.
Yeah.
And he feels like he's the ruler.
Yeah.
He is sort of a slave to his own power. Like, there's something philosophical that he really thought about this.
I am a god. I should live on.
Yes. That he's still a slave to death.
Yeah.
Even though
he's
he should be a god. Like,
there it is.
Yeah.
Tell me, why do I have to be a power slave?
Yeah.
This symbol.
Such a great line.
I know, it's awesome.
And bits of the guitar, it sounds like they're trying to do sort of Eastern melodies.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
Thank you for saying
I hear that. Like, they're working with some Eastern scales,
because
I think.
I remember saying that to other friends of mine. They're like, you're crazy. It's just Maiden. I'm like, no, it's got this Eastern kind of sound. I mean, it's not necessarily Egyptian or what have you, but it's got this ethnic sound to it.
Yeah.
And it sticks out on the record because of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome because it's also the title track.
And they were extremely thoughtful songwriters.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they get enough credit for really paying attention to how they're expressing a song's content musically.
Right.
Like we talked about Aces High, and I think this one you hear as well.
Right.
They do that a lot. It's really... They're a far smarter band than I think people give them credit for.
I agree.
And the lyrics, too.
I agree.
References all over the place, yeah.
I always kind of looked at it like when they're crafting a song, it's like they were building a house.
Yeah.
And they thought about every single element that goes into building that house.
Exactly.
The electricity, the plumbing,
yeah.
The septic tank, all of it. You know, they thought about all of it. The roof, you
Yeah.
know, the structure, the foundations.
Yeah.
They thought about all of it.
Yeah.
You know, which way the door should open and close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They really, really were great I should say are.
Yeah.
Great songwriters.
Yeah.
I mean, fans might have fallen off here and there after certain records.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't dig the sound, or they were changing as songwriters. Maybe maturing. I hate using that word, because I don't want to mature. I don't want to grow up. But they were doing different things a little later on.
Yeah.
All the changes, all the complex changes in their songs. Like, you wouldn't think, if the average band tried to do something like this, you'd be like, okay, wait a minute. That's not in your wheelhouse, guys.
Yeah, it's like they were just sort of nodding respectfully towards prog.
Oh, yeah.
Not becoming prog, but they were approaching that a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I see
in that direction.
Of course, yeah, I hear that.
Which, again, is interesting considering that they started out being considered kind of a punkish band.
Right.
Which is, the opposite of prog.
Right. Yeah, they went from, like, punk to full-on rock metal.
Yeah.
Punk, rock, metal, prog-ish. And I think it just came naturally to them.
I think they did.
It was just the way they wanted to craft these songs.
Yeah.
Not trying to infiltrate another genre, so to speak,
Yeah.
Infiltrate. Another genre. I don't know. There's not a joke in there.
Okay, final song, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. It's kind of a slower version of the Gallop, right?
Yeah.
Kind of trying to imitate that ship kind of moving forward through the waves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
The waves kind of slowly crashing on the sides.
Yeah.
With the big mermaid in the front of the boat. What is that, the stern or the bow? That's the bow, right?
That's the bow.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've never really been on a ship before, so...
Now, this was their longest song until the last album came out, right?
Till Book of Souls, right?
Yeah, and what was that Empire of the Clouds? Was that the one?
You got it. You got it.
This one goes on for a good 13 minutes.
13 and a half minutes. Almost 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like 13 minutes and 42 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long-ass song.
So what are your thoughts on this one?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's also based on the poem.
Yes.
Where I think some of the lines from the poem are actually in the song, if I remember correctly.
One point he does recite.
That's right, and that's in the middle, in that long break before the end.
Yeah.
The structure is weird, but it still works on this song. It's not like your classic bridge or break. It comes towards the end, and then you have this big instrumental piece like we talked about earlier during the song, and they're just going for it. It's an opus.
Yeah,
it's another epic piece that they wrote.
Yeah.
And a great closer to the album, too. Great closer. What else you got on this song?
I like the song, but I don't necessarily like the lyrics so much.
Why is that?
Because it feels like he's just telling me the story of that poem.
Okay.
Rather than responding to the poem.
Okay.
Which is, it's maybe a subtle distinction, but like in the songs that they did based on the Prisoner, it's not like they're telling us the story of what's going on in the show. It's like responding to it in a certain way.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas in this one, it doesn't feel like a personal lyrical response. It's just like, this is the story of what happens in the poem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah, so it doesn't impress me lyrically.
Okay.
That's the thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I never really paid too much attention to the lyrics, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's more the song for me.
The music is solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very solid.
Yeah.
Oh, but of course you gotta love that. Walter everywhere, but not a drop to drink from the poem.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the same time, when I was a kid and I never heard about this before, makes you pick up a book.
Sure.
Makes you pick it up and say, it's based on this?
Yeah.
Where you're thinking, he's a genius. How does he come up with this? Oh, you took it from here. Okay, let me read that.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah.
So, educating dumb metal kids like me back in the day, encouraging you to read,
Yeah.
And, broaden your horizons a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, most metal bands, it was just, like, sex and drugs and rock and roll.
Yeah.
And these guys were not content with just singing about that.
Right.
They just sang about everything. It's like, here's an interesting thing that I'm into that I'm going to sing about.
It's funny you should say that. Is there a single just balls out sex song from Iron Maiden?
You'd be hard pressed to think of one.
Right?
Right?
Yeah, I can't think of one just off the cuff.
Yeah.
No,
there's no single, like, party anthem.
Yeah, right.
Or anything like that.
Well, I mean, they are anthemic in a certain way, and they wrote these songs so you can get the crowd going with it on
Sure.
and on, and
Sure.
all those chants.
Yeah, but you're not singing, like party, get fucked, get laid, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
right.
singing from, a Coleridge poem.
Exactly.
From
right.
the 19th century, right?
Right. Or about how we're going to war.
Yeah.
Or the flight of Icarus, on the previous album, and don't want to be a power slave. Instead of, like you said, if it's a Whitesnake concert or Warrant or whatever, you're talking about, let's get laid, let's get drunk, let's do this, let's do that.
Yeah.
So they were far more intelligent.
Exactly.
About their content and their playing, and really wanted the audience to think, really wanted their listeners to think. I mean, I'm not saying a lot of bands aren't, but they're very appreciative of their fans, and they consider their fans intelligent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
even when
absolutely.
they're not, like me. They'll still have a conversation with you in the whole nine and try to relay that through the music. Try and open your mind a little, which I think is great.
Yeah.
And not just with the playing, like you said, once again, echoing the lyrical content and what have you.
Absolutely.
Also with the themes, with their album covers, and the running thread through a lot of their albums. Won't say that they are concept records at all.
Right.
But there are running threads.
Was there ever a concept album?
Well, I believe the last one kind of is supposed to be. Book of Souls is supposed to be.
Kind of.
But it's not, I don't really see it, though.
Not really.
It's just a double album.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, it's just a double album.
Yeah. I don't know if
Yeah.
Wasn't Somewhere in Time supposed to be a concept?
Supposed
but it didn't
to be.
quite work out that way, right? Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. Even Powerslave, people might say it's kind of a concept record, but I don't think so.
I'm not seeing that.
I don't think so. Same thing with Somewhere in Time.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's an underlying thread with all of the songs.
Yeah.
People get confused when they see the album artwork.
Yeah.
And think that's what it's going to be.
Right.
It's going to be about all Egyptian stuff here.
Right.
Egyptian mythology. But it's not.
Yeah.
They see Somewhere in Time, they think it's all going to be dystopian future stuff. A plug to our other podcast. So I think that they confuse the packaging with a concept musically.
Yeah.
Where it's just mostly a concept for the album artwork.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But this is a great song, but we're not going to hang in there for the whole 14
Yeah.
whole
I
14
do like
minutes.
this section because it does sort of impart this idea of the sterility when the ship is just at rest and it's not going anywhere, and you just really feel that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I got to say here now that I thought about recently listening to the album again, I've listened to it hundreds of times at this point, but Pink Floyd did come across a little bit for me because I had been recently listening to Pink Floyd as well.
Okay.
Just the sounds, like the kind of whale sounds that are going on in the background.
Huh.
The kind of whistly kind of...
Okay, kind of like animals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of got that a little bit.
Yeah.
Not saying they took the idea or anything, but it just kind of has that same ethereal feel almost.
That's an interesting comparison because, of course, Pink Floyd also was working their way towards prog.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're considered a gateway drug for prog music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But also one foot in pop sensibility.
Exactly.
With Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
They'd have this big, long opus, and then they'd have Money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is just a straight-up rock song.
My feeling... I mean, I used to be a huge Floyd fan. I mean, maybe we'll get to this on the Pink Floyd podcast when we get there.
We will get there.
My feeling as I've kind of grown older, like growing up with both Iron Maiden and Pink Floyd, I feel like Iron Maiden, ultimately, they did more interesting and introspective music.
Okay.
Musically.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's personal taste then. Your personal opinion.
Yeah, there could be a lot of,
I can't compare the two. I think they're two dynamos unto themselves.
I'm comparing only in the sense that they're both trying to do complex arrangements, long-form songs,
right.
with, varying textures of music. Yeah, I mean, obviously Iron Maiden didn't do the kind of concept stuff that Pink Floyd did. There's a whole other thing going on there.
They were kind of the granddaddies of real concept.
Exactly.
Progressive rock.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really categorize Pink Floyd. You can't. And like you said, we'll get to Pink Floyd when we get to it. But Maiden was doing similar things, but in their own vein, their own way.
Yeah.
And you can't compare at all. Like I said, I just get reminded sometimes. And that's that one piece during Rime of the Ancient Mariner just kind of reminded me a little bit of what Pink Floyd does.
Okay.
Not saying they were influenced by them. Not saying they took anything from them at all.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me.
Yeah.
How sometimes certain types of music that you can't put together will remind you of. There's also a point on this record that really reminds me of Laura Branigan. I can't explain why, but it just does. That's a total joke, by the way.
Okay. I was going to say, I never
reminds
heard
me of Hall & Oates. I mean, I can't describe why, but it just does. It just reminds me of, Private Eyes. I don't know. It's just me. But Maiden was an animal unto themselves. And they have influenced so many bands.
Yeah.
It could be the other way around. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. I think we are done with the songs. So time for...
Gun to the head!
Well, what is your top song in this album?
I actually prepared for once.
Oh, wow.
I know.
I'm shocked.
I reminded myself to prepare.
Okay.
All right, so Gun to the Head to lose a track first, right?
Sure. Okay.
I'm going to go Lost for Words, Big Aura.
Okay.
Just because it does seem a little out of place to me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I would forever lose the track, because of course that's impossible.
Right.
And I can't see listening to the album without it.
Yeah.
But if I had to lose one,
Gun to the Head. Yeah. Okay.
instead of Eating a Bullet, then I'll go Lost for Words, Big Aura.
Okay.
You?
Mine is Back in the Village.
I can see why. I think why.
Partly because they already did a Prisoner song, and I think that Prisoner song was better than this one.
Right.
Prisoner. If I compare them, and like we were saying, we're not quite even sure what this one is about or how it connects with the Prisoner. So
the lyrics are a little mishmash, kind of convoluted.
So that would be mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And, well, and then you also get the ending. Back in the village, back in the village.
Yeah.
It's got
it's a little silly.
It's a little silly. It is.
Yeah.
Don't get us wrong. We still love it. And when we saw them live, we were right there with it. We were chanting along.
Song?
Yeah, I think they did. They played a lot of their stuff.
They played Back in the Village?
I believe so.
Huh. Okay.
Because I remember us going. Yeah, they played a lot. That concert was what, like 2 hours plus?
It was a good concert. I guess your top song.
Top song.
It's tough. That's legitimately tough. Yeah.
2 Minutes to Midnight has such a nostalgic feel for me. Brings back so many great memories when it came out. And it is a solid fucking single. It is a solid song. And you can see why even people that aren't Maiden fans will gravitate towards 2 Minutes to Midnight, like some of their other singles.
Yeah.
I've had fans that go, oh, so you're into Maiden? They don't know the band, they don't know the albums, but they go, oh, 2 Minutes to Midnight, man, that rocks.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that single sticks with some people. So I kind of want to say that, but I think I'm going to go Powerslave.
Hilarious.
I'm going to go Powerslave. Just because it's such an opus, it's got all these different textures to it, like we talked about. The lyrics are very interesting.
Yeah.
Dickinson and Harris really thought it out. The rest of the guys in the band really thought it out. Nico is great on it. Nico McBrain, Adrian, they're all fucking fantastic. I really dig that song. It's a really, really, really strong album title track.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Powerslave.
I'm laughing because my thing was, well, I wanted to say Aces High, but I'm saying Powerslave.
Word.
For the same reasons you just mentioned. It's got everything. I mean, it's classic Maiden with that galloping riff.
Yeah.
Great guitars. It just grabs you immediately. And the lyrical content is really like, you've got to actually think about these lyrics.
Yeah.
You don't get them when you just read them the first time. You got to actually think about them, contemplate them.
Right.
They're really interesting. Yeah.
And it ties into the album cover.
Yeah,
and the whole thing.
It's a whole cohesive statement.
All the gods of Egypt and the mythology and
when they played that song at the concert we saw, it just blew things away.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
That guitar line, his vocals, Harris's bass. Once again. It's just fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good. And I've always loved that song where friends of mine when I was younger, they would always point out, like you said, Aces High or 2 Minutes to Midnight.
Yeah.
Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. They would always go for those first. I was always like, put on Powerslave, man.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people back then would skip over tracks too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too long. Or I'm like, you're going to listen to Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner over Powerslave talking about it's too long?
Yeah, I know.
Come on, play Powerslave, please. So, oh, wow. So we're in agreement once again. This doesn't happen that often.
It doesn't happen that often. That was an unfortunate thing that happened when CDs were invented.
Where you could skip.
Yeah, because on a record, you'd have to lift the thing and find the next track. It was tough to do, so you wouldn't bother. You'd be like, oh, whatever, I'll just listen to the song even if I don't like it. But with a CD, you could just with one button skip it.
You skip it, yeah.
And now, of course, you don't even have to hear it because it's all MP3s and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, friends of mine used to make their own cassettes when we were driving around in their cars and stuff.
Yeah.
And they would put songs, say, off Powerslave on the cassette, and they would skip certain ones where I'm like,
Yeah.
Why don't you just dump if you don't want to
that?
take the cassette out in the car with you and possibly lose it or get eaten by your tape deck in your car?
Yeah.
Why not just dub the whole record on a blank cassette and play the whole record on a blank? Anyway, that was too much thinking for them, to be honest. And I'm not dissing my old friends. I kind of am. But I'm kind of not. But I kind of am.
They shall go nameless.
Speaking of which, I don't remember half of their names anyway.
And if you think you're the guy in that story, you probably are.
So comment and let me know where you're at. Just don't really contact me.
Yeah. All right, album cover.
Album cover. Okay. One of my all-time favorite album covers.
It's a great album cover.
Yeah.
It really is nicely done.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, the whole Egyptian motif.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, like I said a little bit earlier, their previous album covers debut Eddie looking like he bit into an electrical wire with the hair all standing up, like he's being electrocuted with the big giant eyes. Mm-hmm. Killers, you know, somebody's grabbing onto his shirt. He's got the hatchet by a streetlight. Number of the Beast, where you have Eddie controlling the devil, controlling man. Mm-hmm. You know, which is a bigger album cover. Mm-hmm. And then you had Peace of Mind, where you got Eddie in the rubber room with the lobotomy, with the whole thing. But this is more grandiose.
Yes,
this is saying, like,
it is. Yeah.
Eddie has existed for all this time and creating another mythology with their mascot. Per the music, it also seems like it's representing the change in the music.
Okay.
And now that they're a stadium act and the whole thing, it's a big change. It's an intricate album cover, far more intricate than the previous.
Yeah.
So I think that really says a lot about where the band was at the time.
Yeah, okay. I can go with that.
And then after this, you had Somewhere in Time, which had the fold out, which was a whole other thing too. Lots of artwork going on with the same artist, which is, I think, great stuff. And like I said, this is one of my all-time favorite album covers ever.
This is probably my favorite of the Iron Maiden covers.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd say so. Some of the earlier ones, okay, this is a personal digression reflection here.
Digression reflection! Yeah.
So like you, I wasn't hearing Maiden on the radio. I had friends who were trying to get me into it. So I had this one friend. He was the only guy I knew who had money who could buy a lot of albums.
Okay.
So he had like a library of heavy metal.
I think growing up we had similar friends
like
that.
Yeah,
you know,
you've always got that one guy, right?
That's got everything that comes out. And,
So I'd go to his place and, you know, we'd listen to music and stuff. And he would always say, well, if you enjoy this, let me take this out. So he'd take out Number of the Beast, that album, and I would take one look at the cover and I'd be like, that looks kind of dumb. I don't know if I want to hear that. Yeah, because it looked kind of lurid and kind of cartoony.
Right.
And he's like, okay, fine. And the way he finally convinced me to listen to Iron Maiden was, as I said earlier, when he wrote the lyrics.
Okay.
So then I'm like, oh, they sound like a much smarter band than those album covers represent to me.
Okay.
And then I finally gave it a chance. So in this case, those album covers were actually a barrier to my appreciation of the band.
Oh, all right.
This one, not so much. I don't think Powerslave had come out at that point. I think they're only on Peace of Mind. I just don't feel that, with this one accepted, that their album covers really represented what they were really doing in the music and lyrically.
Okay.
That was always a thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it was part of the package.
Okay.
And I appreciate any band that creates this image and stick with it.
Okay.
Now, I also appreciate bands that have different imagery for their album covers, T-shirts, or tour posters, or what have you. But I do like a band that has, say, the mascot, like Eddie.
Sure.
And they stick with this theme. I enjoy that. Packaging, now they call it branding.
Exactly.
The branding idea.
Yeah.
That you know it's Maiden, even if they don't put their logo on top. You just have Eddie on the cover, you know it's Maiden.
Yeah.
The iconic Eddie was created by Derek Riggs, the artist, and he stayed with them for a long time. He drew a lot of their imagery, T-shirts, etc., single art. Maiden didn't seek him out. Riggs' portfolio came across management's desk, Iron Maiden's management, and he had created Eddie for possibly a punk act.
Huh, okay.
Nobody in particular, but he created this character to go on maybe a punk act's album cover.
Interesting.
And the original title of the painting was Electric Matthew Says Hello, was the first Eddie.
Okay.
So he wasn't Eddie at first, he was Matthew.
Okay.
Electric Matthew. So the management liked it, and they said, well, you know, throw some hair on him, because the original Eddie was bald. Funny, later on he became bald. And they stuck with the guy, and he redrew the stuff, and the band liked it. And they kept using him, you know, with a lot of their iconic album covers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It became a big thing for them.
And the T-shirts. So like I said, you talk about branding. If you have imagery like this that's on the album cover and you can translate it to a T-shirt, you know, and they have all these other things you can do with the mascot and your logo.
Yeah.
Now you got mugs, you got T-shirts, you got pints, you got pint glasses, right?
Yep.
You got everything, you know. You got underwear.
Yeah.
You got all of it.
Do you have the underwear?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do have Iron Maiden underwear. I'm wearing it now to match my Iron Maiden T-shirt. Because, yes, I am sitting here in my underwear next to Max.
Not true. Not true. I would not
You
let that
just
happen.
don't want to tell them. I'm sitting here farting into my Eddie underwear.
Yeah, I would still not be here if that actually happened.
Yeah, that's why we don't do videos.
Yeah. One of many reasons. Okay, cool. This is a good wrap-up. Well, obviously, we love this album.
We do.
We're big Iron Maiden fans.
Absolutely.
This is a top album.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, one last thing about the artwork that you were talking about. Here we got the single covers for 2 Minutes to Midnight, where you're sitting on the tank, and then in the the fighter plane.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. See, like I said, consistency.
It is very, very consistent.
I mean, I'm wearing the T-shirt with the same image with the Mummy Eddie.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that was supposed to be in the album or something like that. I've only seen it on T-shirts, so I think maybe that's just a T-shirt design.
But it does seem like a Powerslave thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
Like I said, it's the same image I'm wearing on my shirt right now.
Yeah.
With the chains and the whole nine. Very strong imagery. Very cool.
That's it. Okay, so who are we doing next? Well, we in J's next?
We are in the J's, right?
Yeah.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J.
Yeah, you can sing the song if you need to.
A, B, C, D.
The metal version.
E, F, G. All right, so what do we got for J?
Is it Priest, or you got anybody else before that?
You know what? Let's go straight to Priest.
Okay. Cool.
Judas Priest.
Judas Priest. I've been looking forward to this one. Okay, so which album do you want to do?
Let's review Stained Class.
Awesome.
Let's do that.
Awesome. That's an earlier album.
Yep.
That's a really strong one. It's almost kind of like a transition album. Yeah.
Let's
do this.
Stained Class.
I'm into that.
Excellent.
Okay, awesome. So, people, you can find us all over the place, actually. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We've got a Facebook page now. You can find us on Google Play and iTunes and WordPress. So you have no excuse.
You could also find us at the local bar.
That's true. We won't tell you which bar, but just ask around.
Just ask around. You'll find us.
Sure. Yeah. Wherever you are in the world, you'll find us. Yeah, you'll get there.
We're them two useless guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be easy in a bar.
All right, everybody. I'm Walt.
I am Max.
Thanks for listening. Keep on rocking.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll!